Builds. We know them, we love them. They are the janky, unstable assemblies that show off the development progress of Stalker and how it evolved from a Quake-like shooter to the amazing, dark and atmospheric game we know today. Most of these builds were never meant to be seen by the general public, but many leaks happened throughout the years that led to them being released into the Wild West that is the internet, allowing us to peer into the long and arduous grind that was the development of the Stalker series we know today. There are many builds. Some are wildly different to one another, others are mere evolutions of the previous one, but they all have something in common, besides the instability, that they offer us the rare opportunity to watch our favorite game evolve in real time right before our eyes. So get ready, Stalker, and follow me as I take you deep into the Buildo. Build 749. This build was compiled to test the operations of the render and also various technical components of the level system, as well as some basic artificial intelligence in the X-ray engine. The build was used by GSC Game World at ECTS 2001 to demonstrate the capabilities of its new engine. The build was later posted by a user called LOXOTRON on the Gaminator forums in February 9, 2011. Keep this user LOXOTRON in mind because he's a very recurring character in the Buildo anime. I tried to find more info on him, but sadly it seems the forum he was posting in, Gaminator, was shut down, so I had no luck. As we start up the build, we are welcomed with this splash screen, with the original title for the original game GSC was working on, Oblivion Lost. Now, this splash screen was actually added later on by the fans, because the original splash screen was, well, porn. Yeah, porn. So they removed this later. But anyway, spawning in, we are greeted to a large Aztec style room, with a deep dark hole in the middle. The whole area is lit up by some fire, casting a quite nice orange light on everything. This hole right here seems quite deep, and I have not found a way of getting down there yet, but later on I will try to just jump down. And I gotta say, for 2001, this room looks pretty good, all things considered, and the Aztec architecture gives a real nice vibe, if I do say so myself. It's something, well, that we'll see be expanded even more in the later builds. This staircase right here leads outside, and it's not the only exit. There is another one over there by where we spawn. Anyway, moving up over here, we come up upon this spiral staircase leading to some steps at the top. The stairs continue upwards, but we will go up there later. As we ascend, we are greeted with a very open and clear sky, backdropped by some mountains and greenery. And we can also see the rest of the Aztec temple. And over here, we have another set of stairs with some pretty cool looking dragon head. And if we move on up here, oh yeah, about that. Well, you see, in these old builds, every time you jump, your character yells. So when you go down or up a flight of stairs, well, the audio just plays right on top of each other 10 times. It's pretty weird. Anyway, up here we find just an empty square room with some pillars laid out. And if we move back here, we can find the rest of the Aztec temple, and this entrance over here leads back inside. Now let me get down from here and show you the rest of the area. I'm gonna move it here to the front and show you the frontal view of the temple. And if we turn around here, we can get a good look at the scenery. it's pretty basic, just some green hills and a river. And I love how you can easily see that it's all just repeated textures, like the grass is just repeated over and over again. Now, if we follow this little dirt track over here, and yeah, you might have already noticed the Quake 3 Arena railgun we got here. And yes, it works. It even leaves a texture on the things it shoots. It looks kind of cool. Anyway, there's not really much down this path. It just leads to a little area over there. It's a dead end. Not much to see in there. Trust me, it's just a couple of trees and nothing else. Going back towards the temple here, I'm gonna find a nice ledge somewhere to show something off to you. You see, you actually have a third-person model in this version. You can see it by pressing the number keys, and this is what it looks like. But that's not the entire model. Right now it just looks like a circle on the ground, but that's not it. Let me just find a good ledge here and I'll show you. Let's just jump over here and we will now be able to see that the player model seems to be some kind of weird mushroom looking ass thing. I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a twitching ball sack. Anyway, one last thing I want to show you. See that river over there? Yeah, you see, the water is not actually real. It's just a texture with the look of water. You can walk on it and everything. It's just a blue texture. Obviously, it's like that because this build was used during the European Computer Trade Show of 2001 to demonstrate the capacities of the X-ray engine. So nobody was meant to go down there and touch it, but still, an interesting fact. And in closing, I gotta say, this is a pretty big map for testing purposes, like it extends pretty far, all the way over there in fact. Rather large for a test map, but regardless, going back towards the temple here, if we go down the staircase, we can go back to where we spawn, the big fire-lit Aztec room. Also, a little bit of a glitch here. If you stand in a certain spot, the outside disappears. Now we return to the giant hole in the ground. I have not been down there yet, but you know, fuck it, I'm just gonna jump down. And in the end, there's not that much to see, just a square, rocky room. Oh well. This build, as you can see, is incredibly basic. The level is simple, the geometry is simple, there's only one weapon, which is ripped from Quake. But hey, this right here is where it's all begun. Stalker was born out of this, and it's quite phenomenal that we can take a look at it. Anyways, that's it for build 749. Up next we have 756, the helicopter build as I like to call it. Build 756. This build was created to test the helicopter controls for the upcoming game Oblivion Lost. It was first shown off in the European Computer Trade Show of 2001. Starting up this build, and we spawn on a raised platform with steel walls, with an Apache-looking helicopter next to us. The area is surrounded by some brownish mountains, and we have a sniper rifle that does not work. Oh, and also, our player model is ripped directly from Codename Outbreak. It's literally just ripped straight from that game. Obviously, it's a placeholder. I'll give you a second to have a good look at it. But moving on to the main course of this build, the helicopter. This whole build was created just to test this one thing, and its flight controls. To control the helicopter, just press 0 and you will go into it. While inside, you can change the camera by pressing the 1, 2, and 3 keys. Oh yeah, you also might have noticed the weird floor texture. Yeah, it's some kind of skiing video from the looks of it. You know what? How about a challenge? Whoever can find the source video gets a shout out in the next episode. Good luck. Anyway, back to controlling the chopper. To go in the air, just press space and you will start to rise. And if you press crouch, you start to go down. If you hold shift, you can do it faster. And the WASD keys control direction. And I gotta say, for a build that was compiled in 2001, the helicopter controls are pretty good. Surprisingly tight and responsive. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that making any sort of more advanced maneuvers is not possible in third person. You have to do it in first person. As you can see, When I'm in first person, you can move the helicopter by looking around with the camera. So just by looking around, you can turn the chopper, and if you hold shift, you can do it faster. Now, enough talking, let's take this thing for a ride. And as you can see, the terrain is very basic, just some hills in a void. The map is very small, clearly only meant for basic testing, and it does fulfill that purpose, so fair enough I suppose. Overall, a very simple build to test a very simple feature. Not much to see, but it's still an important development milestone for sure. And now, on to the next one, Build 788, which has a little bit more to offer. Build 788. This build was created to show off the graphical capabilities of the X-Ray engine, and also to basically be the reveal of the concept of Oblivion Lost, the game that GSC was working on at the time. This build was first seen in London in September 2nd to September 4th during the European Computer Trade Show of 2001. This build also possesses a new splash screen showing a newer logo for Oblivion Lost. And this right here is 788. And as we load into the build, we can catch this helicopter fly right above us. You see, this build was never actually meant to be played. This is actually done by a patch. This entire build was actually only created for a demo. And this demo would be, the camera flying around the bridge and then going into the tunnel down below and just showing off the X-Ray engine capabilities. But with a little modification, we can actually play the build. Give us access to this cut minigun, which is actually different from the one that shows up in the later builds, and also a new player model too. Here, I'll give you a couple seconds to see it. It seems to be some kind of power armor type character. I can't really explain it. The biggest comparison that I can make is that it looks like the power armor from the Fallout series. That's the best comparison that I can make. But anyway, moving on. If we move up over here, and you can see the screens have returned. And before you say anything, no, the minigun does not work. It fires, quote unquote, but there's no sound and no projectile, so it just spins. And over here we have this thing. I don't know what it is. It just seems to be a collection of tubes. Still don't know what it is. And if we move on up here, we can go to the elevator section. However, I should warn you, do not try to ride the elevator. From what I can tell, it has no collision, so if you try to ride it, you're just gonna fall straight through. Fortunately, you can still get down by just, following this rail here. Yeah, as you can see, I just clipped through the elevator. So we can go down, we can just, jitter our way down. And don't worry about the water, just like in the previous builds, it has collision, so you can just walk over it. And now we can jump over here to this platform, and again, do not jump on the elevator, you will fall through. And here we can see the underside of this futuristic looking bridge. And in here we have the tunnel. Watch out for the gap here, you can fall through. And I'm not gonna show you what's all the way over there, because to be honest, I spent a ridiculous amount of time going down this fucking tunnel, and there's nothing. There's literally nothing. Once you reach the other side, it's just a hole that leads into the ocean. That's it. So I'm not gonna waste my time doing it twice. If we go over here, we also got these side tunnels with these vents. And trust me, this tunnel is extremely large. Like, it goes all the way into the mountain, so I'm not gonna go there. this is not the only location in this build. There is one more. Actually, no, make it two. There's one over there and one over here. So I'm gonna cut here really quick and I'll show you the two other locations that make up this build. And we're back to the second location, going down the road here. And I'm gonna be honest, this second location is probably the most anticlimactic one of this entire build. It's pretty boring. There's just some open field with a couple of trees. Like, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna walk up on it here, on a little bit. But you see, it's pretty anticlimactic. This is a very, very unfinished part of the map. They basically didn't even start building anything over here. So it's just a dead-end road leading to some trees and some grass. That's it. It's, like I said, the most boring one. The worst part is how much you have to walk to get over here just to see this. Hell, the most interesting part of this location is the opening in the fabric of reality over here, where you can see the ocean beneath the map. Like, that's it. That is the most interesting part of this location. It's just some trees and a hole in the fabric of reality. Anyways, I'll show you the third location now, which in my opinion is much more interesting. So let's get out of here. And here we are in the third and final location. It seems to be some kind of weird biodome, sarcophagus-like kind of structure. I don't really know how to describe it, but it has a large garden in it. Anyways, we found another one of these series of tubes. And now we can move down the ramp to show you the actual place. Oh yeah, and also get ready for the spam of screams. Yeah, I apologize for the ear rape. But oh well, at least we're reaching the sarcophagus now. And as you can see, it seems to be some sort of really, you know, whoa. Okay. Yeah, that happened. Fuck. Okay, we're back now. I managed to get down the ramp without clipping through the, you know, environment. I did it by walking through this middle thing here. Anyways, on the entrance we find yet another one of these, you know, series of tubes. I still don't know what they are, but here we are. The biodome, as I like to call it. A huge forest beneath some kind of glass ceiling. There's also this thing here on the side. Looks to be some kind of generator. I don't know what to call it. I just call it generator. But anyways, as you can see, it's like this giant forest. The best comparison that I can make is to like the biodome in the Zombies map Moon. That's what it kind of reminds me of. As you can see up there, there's some kind of, you know, glass protecting it from the outside. And overall, the whole place just feels like a giant, you know, mini jungle. There's also this one area over here that has me puzzled because it seems to be some sort of cave, if you can see over there. The problem is that I have not found a way to get up there. Like, I tried, you know, jumping my way on these rocks and whatnot, but I just can't do it. I can't find a way to get up there. And the problem is that in this build, you can't use the console, so I can't even use the demo controls to fly up there. Like, I can't even do that. So I have no idea what's up there. I hope somebody finds a way up there someday. But that's it for build 788. It has about 3 locations, and one of them is incredibly underwhelming, but the other 2 make up for it. But hey, it's understandable. It's an incredibly early build. It was pretty much just a test map that was supposed to be used for a single showcase demo in the European Computer Trade Show of 2001. So I'm not surprised that it's so basic. Still, The next one is a lot more interesting. The next one is build 1098. And unlike this one, instead of just being maps, it actually has a little bit of gameplay to it. There's even combat. You can fight some robots and shit. So it's probably going to be more interesting. And also, I will use that build to go into a little discussion about what the lore of Oblivion Lost could possibly be. See you in the next build. Build 1098. This build is the latest known assembly of the game Oblivion Lost, and it was intended to demonstrate the graphics of the X-Ray engine and its ability to create these, to be quite honest, for 2001, quite beautiful environments. It was also supposed to show off much of the, gameplay concepts that GSC had for the game Oblivion Lost, such as being able to have squad mechanics and order people around and whatnot. It also shows off some basic combat. And now we're loaded into the build. This is a 1098 if I'm not mistaken. And we got here the minigun. The second weapon we got is the FN 2000. And the area we spawn in is this little groove here in this middle of this forest. It has what appears to be some kind of either, APC or a tank covered in a tarp. The tarp has the X-Ray logo on it, but overall, not really much to see here. Originally, you were supposed to have two robotic little friends following you around, but unfortunately, the build just refused to run when I had them on, so I had to turn them off. I apologize for that. Anyways, here, let me show you the player model real quick. By pressing F2, we get the first camera option, and by pressing F3, we have the free camera. And you can see this little guy right here is what the Russian Wikia calls Jeffrey. He's the main character of build 1098. This whole place here is basically one giant mountainous green area. There's a building over there. I don't know what it looks like. I have not been able to find a way to get up there, so that place is just inaccessible. But it seems to be some kind of ruin. Moving up here, I'm gonna show you something real quick. So that path over there is what I like to call path 1 or path A. And that over there is path B. They both lead to the same area, which is the Aztec city on the other side of this hill. So I will show you path 2 later. First, I'm gonna show you path 1. And let me say one thing, there is something about this build that makes it so goddamn creepy. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's something about it. Like, listen to it. Seriously, just stand here and listen to this ambient. Like, listen to that shit, those weird wind noises all the time, and there's like nothing. There's nobody, you're completely alone, and there's this weird fucking ambience playing. It's creepy, man. I don't like it. Like, this build creeps me out. I don't like it. But anyway, moving forward. So as we move forward here, we're gonna start facing some enemies, because this build actually has enemies to fight. It's not like 749 that had those weird, jumpers and movers. No, this one has actual enemies. They are copies of the little robot fellas that was supposed to help you, but they're enemies instead of friendlies. Moving up here, we're gonna see some ruins, and that's where our first gunfight is gonna happen. And I gotta say, for a game from like 2002 to 2001, it looks surprisingly good. Like, this is pretty impressive. The X-Ray engine seemed to have been, pretty cutting edge for when it was released. Like, this is surprisingly good. Like, this build was compiled in 2001, man. Like, this is pretty nice for 2001. But anyway, get ready for the gunfight. There. Those little robot fellas. They're not too tough, but they can hit you. I think there's another one around here. And moving up, as we can see, there's the Aztec. Oh fuck, hold on. Anyways, there's the little Aztec city over there. We're gonna get a closer look at it. But first we gotta be ready. There's robots fucking everywhere. We're gonna get ambushed again soon. Where are they? There. Alright. So moving up here, there's 3 main structures that I want to show you. First, there's that giant wall over there. Let me get close. See, there's like a giant wall over there. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they were planning with this map, but they put it there. There's also this one over here. This one we can actually get on top of. But the moment we get to the staircase, we're gonna get ambushed again, so gotta get ready. There. This right here is the entrance to the Aztec city. As you can see, it's a old abandoned ruin. You can go up this little wooden thing here, get a better look. There's some pillars over there, these massive towers on this temple, and there's also a huge like pyramid back there. I'm gonna show them in further detail in a second. Moving back down here, we can move on towards the temple. There's a bunch of entrances. You can go up from over here or through the entrance over there. I'm gonna go over there just so I can show you the pillars. And I gotta say, the minigun in these old builds just feels so satisfying to shoot. Like, seriously, look at this. Like, it feels good, man. It almost makes me wish that it actually made it to release. Right here, the pillars, and it leads to a little entrance in the temple there. There's also this massive canyon, but there's nothing in it. There's no water nor anything. It's just giant. I'm not gonna go down there because I learned the hard way that if you jump, you can't get back up. There's also a little groove there, but nothing interesting. Although there is something interesting over there, but I'm gonna show you that later. Moving on here into the temple, and you can actually see it's rather similar to the one in 749. It has the same kind of orange lighting and Aztec textures. It's quite similar, especially this little underground area here. Anyway, here's a look at the temple. And let's jump down. Sadly, there's no flashlight in this build, so we just have to, rely on the light sources. Moving here, there seems to be some kind of weird altar. Roof's broken. There's some back rooms. And some stairs here. There's also this little back area, I don't know what it is. But moving back up, we can go to one of the towers. And if you notice, these are the same dragon heads as that staircase in 749. It's a reused asset. And moving up here, we can go to the roof. sadly we can go all the way to the top. We can just go over here. And then we gotta jump down. Here's a nice view of the courtyard inside the temple. That seems to be some kind of fountain, but it's empty. And if we... Whoa. Yeah, about that. The stairs in the buildos, they're pretty anomalous. They don't work right. You just jitter your way upward. And when you go down, it's like you're falling down the flight of stairs. You just go... And right here we have the pyramid. The Mayan pyramid. Unfortunately, I tried, but you cannot go up there. Probably just an empty room, but still. And also, that right there is path 2. That's path B. So let me show you what's down that way. It's also a canyon, just like path 1. But path 1 has the ruins. This one is just nature. We might get attacked again, so gotta stay on your toes. Holy shit. God damn. Yeah, fuck it, I'm just run. But anyway, that's basically the entire map. Now I'm gonna cut here, and then I'm gonna show you the demo of me flying around the inaccessible areas. And I will take that time to try and explain some of the information that I found potentially regarding what the lore of this game, Oblivion Lost, was supposed to be. Because remember, this game never got finished. In fact, oh fuck. Anyway, as I was saying, this game, Oblivion Lost, it never got finished. In fact, Build 1098 is the farthest they got into game development before they just gave up and decided to make Stalker instead. So this is the last time we'll ever see Oblivion Lost. But they actually had a story planned out for it, at least in some capacity, but it never got used. And I'll discuss that a little bit later. Anyways, one last thing I want to show you, and I'm pretty sure I'm the first person to ever find this, but there's a little glitch you can do here to get inside the tank. I have not been able to reproduce it, but basically you can crouch in this little hole here, and you can slide into the tank, and you can stay inside of it, and then you can just come out from over here and leave it. Unfortunately, I have not been able to do it again. I done it like 5 times, but never again. So no footage for that. I tried to record it once, but failed. I have not been able to reproduce it. Props to anyone that can. But on to the demo section, and after that, we talk about the very first Stalker build. So while the demo plays here and I show off some of the inaccessible areas of the map, I decided that I'll take this time to tell you the basic idea of the plot of Oblivion Lost. I managed to scrape this together from some sources, including the Russian Wikia, and from what I can tell, this was supposed to be the basic plot of Oblivion Lost. Oblivion Lost would have taken place in the distant future, where the whole planet is covered with multi-tiered cities and the atmosphere is dotted with stations and artificial moons. all planets of the solar system have been colonized, even the quite distant ones like Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. Within the multi-tiered cities of Earth, every tier has its own characteristic difference, both in technology and in culture. Life in the upper layers of the city is much better than at the depth, and the surface of the planet is mainly dotted with waste processing units and huge facilities that extract energy from the planet's core to the cities. In this future, the Earth is dying, the strength of the planet has almost dried up, the atmosphere is rapidly degreasing, and solar radiation has forced people to build protective domes and orbital power plants. Life deep in the cities with artificial light sources has significantly affected the inhabitants. They have adapted and mutated to better survive within their new conditions. These mutations cause severe stratification and confrontation between peoples. And the deepest parts of these multi-tiered cities are inhabited almost exclusively by robots fixing generators, and also many, degenerate troglodyte humans that have mutated and formed their own culture and technology. However, somewhere on the planet, something has happened. A so-called oasis, quote unquote, has formed, where seemingly life has returned to normal. It is green, the earth is alive, there's plants, animals. However, it is also a strange place, not investigated. It is a deadly anomalous zone, a region of hundreds of kilometers only available to inventive wanderers of the lower levels of the cities. Within this area, there happens many spatial time anomalies, which allow the passage of unearthly creatures into our planet. And this is obviously a huge problem for all the established life on Earth, except for certain factions that see this process as deliverance and as healing of the planet itself. Overall, from what we can gather from this whole plot synopsis, is that Oblivion Lost was supposed to be this futuristic game set in the future where the Earth is basically dying, and for some reason, for unexplainable purposes, an area has appeared on Earth that has life, that has complete nature, just as we saw in this build right here, this Aztec temples and whatnot. This place has life. And the entire purpose of this game would be going to this area to investigate it and discover what exactly is happening that's bringing back life to this area. And also to understand why these spatial anomalies are happening that are bringing in these alien creatures to Earth. Overall, it probably would have been a pretty cool story. Like for a 2001 shooter, it wouldn't be groundbreaking, but it's serviceable. But now we can finally go to the first Stalker build. Build 1114. This is the first known build of Stalker Oblivion Lost. And this whole assembly was made to show off the new, game concept, its graphics and textures, and also to test some simple AI enemies. This assembly was posted online by one of the company's employees on one of the fan sites. It is basically confirmed at this point that this so-called leak of this build was actually intentional and done by GSC to maintain interest in the game. This was later confirmed by an email from the GSC PR manager Andrei Salnikova, where he said, and I quote, "That alpha that you have, we laid out." And here we are. The very first Stalker build, 1114. This right here, baby, this is where it all began. Come on, now this is cool. Okay, you can't tell me that this isn't cool. But, okay, moving on here. This right here is one of the 2 levels that are part of this build. The first one is this very early Cordon. Like, if you played Oblivion Lost Remake, you can already recognize this area. This right here is the old Cordon factory. Let me give you a good look at it. And let's go over here too first. Not much to see. Now let's go into the factory. And as you can see, the original factory was a lot bigger compared to the one on release. Hell, it has multiple like levels even. You can go over here. There's another exit over there, but we'll go there later. Oh. First we're gonna go over here. And this right here is the 2nd floor of the factory. Please ignore the random laser coming out of my gun. That's a bug. In Oblivion Lost Remake, this is where you kill your first controller. And this leads to the 3rd floor. Although, to be honest, there's not much point going to the basement because the entrance there is shut. So you can't go to the roof. Let's move back down. We can see one of the big differences between this build and some of the other ones. This huge ass cliff. In the other builds, they moved the factory back down into the valley, like they removed this hill here. But in this build, it's elevated. Now let's go into the 2nd building. This is the 2nd factory. Also larger, like just one of these buildings is already larger than the release factory. And if we go here, we can return to the first one. Let's go back to that cliff. So as you can see, in this version, the factory sits upon this very tall hill. But in later versions, they will take the factory and they will move it around over there, where I'm shooting. They will reposition it somewhere over there. Now let's keep going back down. You don't have to worry too much about fall damage, you can just jump. And in here is just a giant, garbage collection, I guess. In later versions, they turn this little area here, if I'm not mistaken, into like a little swamp, and the factory goes over there. Here's also the original Cordon tunnel. Doesn't have those, to be honest, cool as fuck passages like it does in Lost Alpha, I think. Just a tunnel here. And if we move on up, we find the Cordon little highway. Now, sadly, in this build, there is no rookie village. If I zoom over there, there's no rookie village. The rookie village has not been created yet, so it's just empty. Although they have built the southern checkpoint, but I'll show you that later. If we go over here, we find this little structure, and of course the Cordon bridge with the train and the watchtower. I have no idea what this structure here is supposed to be, other than maybe some kind of water tower. I tried to climb it, trying to get on the roof, but I couldn't do it. Continuing up here, and we can find the bridge. Much larger than the one on release. They also didn't finish the village that was supposed to be over here. The Cordon was supposed to originally have like 2 villages, so there was supposed to be another one over here, but it hasn't been built yet. There was also supposed to be a small collection of houses over there, but they also haven't been added yet. But hey, at least the bridge and the tower is here. Now, before I show you the southern checkpoint and the northern checkpoint, I'm gonna show you some of the guns. So the first one here is the Browning High Power. You saw it at the beginning. Even has reload animations. This is a huge development compared to the previous ones. The previous ones didn't even have reloads. The second weapon we have is the AK-74. Although it isn't really an AK-74, it's more like an AKS-74 because of the folding stock, but hey, who cares? And if you haven't realized it yet, all the sounds are from Counter-Strike 1.6. Little reload animation. And let me show you the third weapon, the FN-2000. The FN-2000 is also the only weapon in the arsenal here that has a special function, which is the zoom. Also has its own reload animation. And in the fourth slot, we got the LR300. And in the fifth, we got the minigun. This right here is pretty much the last build in which the minigun shows up. There's only one more build where it appears, and that's it. So this is basically the final hoorah of the minigun. And it works just as expected. Still really cool. Anyways, that's it for the weapons. And now I'm gonna go down there and show you the early southern checkpoint. And after that, I'll show you the northern checkpoint, which is also the entrance to the garbage. But you know what, before that, I want to show you something here really quick, because I have played this build for quite some time. Like, I explore these builds somewhat heavily, you know, to try and find cool things to show people in the video. And I found some weird thing here close to the tunnel. I'm not sure if anyone has noticed this yet, but if you stand, I don't know if you can hear it already, but it's like there's humming sound. And if you stand on a specific area, it gets even louder. Here, just pay attention to the audio. I think you'll be able to hear it. Like, can you hear that? It's like some humming noise. Like, you know, machinery. And I don't know where it is. It seems to be coming like from down below. Or maybe the like entity that plays the sound is on the floor. But it's just here, like this weird ass humming noise. No idea where it is. And this is not the only spot that has this. In the bridge, it also plays this sound. No idea what it is. Anyways, I'm gonna cut here and show you the southern checkpoint. Okay, so we are approaching the southern checkpoint now. And if you're wondering, that little skybox texture there that shows a city, apparently, from what I could gather, that's a picture of Pripyat, which is weird because at this point in development, it was still supposed to be Crimea, so weird. We are approaching here the old southern checkpoint, and as you can see, it is incredibly basic, like very, very basic. It's literally just a wall, some barbed wire, 2 watchtowers, some roadblocks, which are surprisingly small, some hedgehogs, and a gate. That's it. That's the southern checkpoint in this one. It's incredibly basic, incredibly early, and not really much to show. Just kind of a wall with a road that leads nowhere. Although they expand on this place a lot more in the later builds. So now I'm gonna cut away here and show you the entrance to the garbage, or also known as the northern checkpoint. And here we are, we're approaching the northern checkpoint, which is the entrance to the garbage. And spoiler alert, it's very similar to the southern checkpoint. It's very anticlimactic, very simple. It's basically just a mini southern checkpoint, not much more to it. Incredibly basic, just a wall, a building, some barbed wire, 2 stop signs, and nothing else. Sadly, this build is incredibly early in the development of Oblivion Lost. I mean, Stalker Oblivion Lost. And so there isn't really much done yet. This is basically just a proof of concept, just a way to show off the early zone idea. One more thing I want to show you before I leave this build is to show you the new player model. You can see they already started on the model that would later become the Sunrise suit. So we already have a basic Stalker character here in all his 2001 glory. He doesn't even hold the gun correctly. But regardless, still, this is where the Sunrise suit began. This is pretty much the first Sunrise suit model, so very cool to be able to look at it. So there's one more level in this build that I want to show you, and it's a combat level. It has a bunch of enemy NPCs, including rats, zombies, and the early Spatnaz. And after that, we can move on to the last build of this video, build 1096. So see you in the next level. So I loaded up the Agroprom level here, and I'm not gonna do any commentary right now. I'm just gonna show you the combat, but I will show you the level later. And now here we have a basic flyby around the stage to show you this early Agroprom area. And originally I only intended on doing a little flyby, but as I was recording things from a bird's eye view, I somehow found this. I don't know if you can already see it, you know, in between the trees over there, but there seems to be some sort of weird box outside of bounds. I immediately dropped what I was doing and I went there, and well, look at this thing. I have no idea what it is or even what it does or what it's here for. It's just some weird multicolored box. My theory is that this is used for some development thing. Maybe it's there to test lighting or something. I don't know what this box is here, but I found it. I have not seen screenshots of it anywhere else, so who knows, maybe I'm the first one to find it. Probably not, very likely not, but still interesting. If anyone knows what this is, please let me know. Build 1096. The existence of this build first became known on July 2nd, 2002, when a user named CPCat found it on the internal FTP server of GSC Game World. It was a password-protected, self-packing archive called StalkerDemo.exe. CPCat wrote an email to GSC asking them about it, after which the file was deleted, and his letter, as of yet, was not answered. He did not know what to do with the archive, and so he just waited for an answer from GSC Game World. Eventually, on December 4th, he finally received one. It was an email from Anton Bolshakov, and it said, and I quote, "Hello, this is the internal classified information. Any distribution thereof and use is prohibited as written on the site of the game. This exe only contains unstable technology. The gameplay is not there. Anton Bolshakov, GSC Game World." At the time, it was impossible to determine exactly which assembly was in the archive, since the password is unknown. Most likely, this assembly was intended for the gaming media to write, take previews and screenshots of. And so for a long time, we never had access to the build. Until February 9th, 2011, on the site Gaminator. And say it with me, it was leaked by LOXOTRON. Yeah, I bet you're tired of hearing this guy's name at this point, but get ready, he's a very recurring character in this anime. And here we are, build 1096. And you're probably asking yourself, Strela, the fuck you going on about? This is not 1096. This looks just like 1114. What the fuck is this? This is 1114, Strela. Well, let me explain. You see, build 1096 is not like the other builds. It is what the Russian Wikia calls a quote-unquote patch build. What does that mean? Well, you see, it's not actually an evolution of the previous one. It is, as the name implies, just a patch. And this is not the first one. There are many other patch builds that we'll find later on. So this one is literally identical to 1114. So everything that I showed you of 1114 is the exact same thing here. It has Cordon and Agroprom. It's the original Cordon with the Crimean mountains and whatnot. Old factory, it's the exact same. Hell, you want to know the big difference between this one and 1114? One of the differences is that when you pull out the Browning high power, it plays a sound now. Yeah, that's one of the differences. It also has no crosshair, and there's this weird issue I found with the minigun, where the muzzle flash is gone. Like the minigun works fine, but for some reason the muzzle flash is just non-existent. Like, look at this. But besides that, and some extremely minor differences, for all intents and purposes, this is just 1114. Like, that's all it is. It's just a small patch for 1114. They have nothing different. So I'm not gonna waste my time, going to the same locations again, because they're identical. There are no differences. These builds are, for all intents and purposes, identical. Anyways, that's it for this video, and oh my god, this series is gonna have so many goddamn episodes because I am not even half done yet. Like, I have 62 gigs of builders to go through, okay? Please, call for help.